Welcome back. This is part 2 of our installment of talking with St. Joe's head coach Phil Martelli in an exclusive for SJUHawks.com. With the scheduling talk, you alluded a little bit, you'll be a young team this year and then gradually growing, getting older and getting more experience. Could you talk briefly about some of these? You have 4 incoming freshmen, and then you have 2 players in Jai and Aaron that are coming off red shirts. Can you talk to us a little bit about them? Obviously, you lose 3 senior starters, 4 seniors, but you bring in these 6. Could you talk a little bit about maybe some thoughts on what type of skill set they bring, or from an, not you've just started working them with them, so expectations are early, but is there anything you see from them or expect from them early in their careers?
I think that I think when you see the 3 players, but also Colin Kelly and Eric Kindler,
right,
when you see them kind of move on, you study what their makeup was. And they had a championship makeup. That was the result. They had a championship makeup. And not all of it was on the court. More of it was off the court, in my opinion. And as I watched these younger players start to evolve and grab hold of the challenge that they're facing, the character is extraordinary. They have been communicating all year long. They know what it means to communicate. They're excited. They think they won the championship. They use the term we, what we did, which is very, very impressive. James Demery is an extraordinary athlete. His shooting needs developing, but he's going to get to the front of the rim very, very easily. And that's saying a lot for a college freshman to say he's going to get to the front of the rim. He's going to get there, and he's going to have some finishes that are going to wow people, similar to what DeAndre did. James is the difference for James and DeAndre is DeAndre came on a team that was loaded with experience and guys that were singular in their focus. James is coming on a team where there's a lot of younger guys. He's a wonderful defender, and he will be a guy that will be counted on. Markel Lodge is not the next Ron Roberts. He's the first Markel Lodge. And I've told him to not be, but when he elevates, you're going to think, wait, Ron has another year of eligibility. I didn't know that. And what I've been impressed with Markel is his ball skills are better than what I saw in December. Interesting story about Markel. When the sky was falling and all was bleak the day after the Villanova game, I drove down to Washington, D.C. in a driving snowstorm to see Markel play. And he looked me in the eye and said, everything's going to be all right. Now, he didn't know all the involvement with that disastrous week, but a lot of energy. He drives himself. Has to become more comfortable away from the basket because he is really 6'6" or 6'7", and we have bigger size now. In Javon Bauman, that's a big guy. Jai Williams is a big guy. He's working really hard. I was really happy with our fans not putting too much pressure on Jai, and even the radio shows. And when I would see people weren't really as concerned because they knew we had done what we did with him for the right reasons, to make sure that he could be acclimated academically here and be successful here. Now he's lost a lot of weight. He's running better. He has an idea of the pace, but he doesn't fully grasp it yet. So he's a work in progress. Obi Romeo, another wonderful kid. His arm length, his shot blocking, his rebounding, far ahead of his offensive game. And we have to put him in the laboratory and make sure that we can develop an offensive game. But certainly size and body are a special feature that he has. Shavar Newcoker is a point guard. I mean, he's going to get in the lane. He's going to make some mistakes. He's young. His body is not quite there. James, Markel, and Obi physically are ahead. Shavar, we're going to use a lot of the time in the summer to get him his body right to make sure that he gives us real solid point guard play. Aaron Brown is a wonderful teammate. And I wouldn't know that not having been around him for those 2 years that he was at West Virginia. Because when he was at Penwood, he was the star, and sometimes the star gets away with some things that maybe wouldn't be acceptable if you're a role player. But Aaron is a wonderful teammate. He's a really hard worker. There's word out there that he's a shooter. He's not a shooter. He can score the ball, and we're really working on him being a mismatch problem. So we may play 4 small guys and put him out there. With Aaron being out there, and because I don't play numerically, I play a point guard, and if we're fortunate enough to have a center, we play a center, and then we kind of play around those other positions. So I think Aaron is highly competitive, and he's a great teammate. But if we're going to get to it, but the woe for our team right now is we're not a real good outside shooting team. So we're going to have to come up with ways to score the ball differently, and Aaron can be one of those ways.
Okay. One player that was on the bench last year and is a player that's been discussed, questioned about, wondered about is Kyle. I was just curious what Kyle's role was with you, with the team, moving forward, because there are things that have floated around there. Just was hoping to get kind of a concrete answer on him.
Kyle was banged up before we went to Italy. And because we didn't know the level of competition, we didn't know the condition of the courts, we decided not to play him in Italy. When we came back, he got started, and it was probably slower than any of us wanted or thought it would be. He played in a game in a rout in Hagen and came off the court after that game and said something's really wrong. And he would know. And that was when we sent him back. He had his 4th operation. The doctors were tremendous, and Kyle and his family were very, very mature and understanding when the doctor said, this is now about quality of life. It's not about quality of basketball. And we discussed it, and I brought Kyle in, told him that I needed him to stay at St. Joseph's to make us a better university, that I would like him to consider participating in the program as a student assistant. We still haven't worked that all the way through, okay. But there's certainly a clause in the NCAA, but we've known for several months. So I'm sure you had a lot of questions, Matt, and yes. I would have questions in the spring when people would say, well, we're involved with this transfer or that transfer.
Where is that
I heard
from?
Yeah, where's that scholarship? Who's leaving? Who's in trouble academically? It was always my knowledge that the Atlantic 10 had granted us.
So this is something you knew back in the spring.
Yeah, I've known, and that's why I went about it. And even now, as I look at recruiting, which starts in the next few days, now I'm looking at, instead of 3 scholarships, I'd like a 4th scholarship.
Okay.
How I use the 4th one. 600 kids transferred this year. What do I think is going to happen next year?
That number was 400, then it was 500.
Right, so now it's 600. So maybe I'll hold the 4th scholarship until next spring. But Kyle is staying at St. Joseph's. He's going to graduate from St. Joseph's. He's been inducted into the business honors fraternity. And I'm going to flesh out with him come August. Maybe he'll be the one out there running some of the individual workouts. Maybe at night when these guys want to come back and shoot, maybe he'll be the one.
So he won't just be
in there
sitting there. He'll have a
role
within the team.
He is on our team.
Okay.
He's on our team. And is he a player? No. Is he a coach? No. Is he a manager? No. But he's a member of this program.
Okay. And you sort of touched there for a moment on recruiting. I know that this week and then throughout the rest of July are hectic weeks for you and all the assistant coaches everywhere. Without going into specifics of names, because I understand that can't be done, do you have any positions with this rising senior class, the 2015 class, any positions in particular that you're kind of honing in on? Are you looking for just best players or certain spots?
No. I think it's our best way of doing it, Matt, has been guy leaves, guy comes in.
Okay.
So if you look at our roster, you would say Chris Wilson is leaving. That's a point guard. So we're looking for a point guard. As you look at the makeup of the team, shooting is, so we need a wing shooter. And then in the front court, we're looking for a face-up forward who can score the ball. And then the 4th scholarship, really the Kyle Moloch scholarship, is going to be a wild card, and that's
That could
going to
be a senior. That could be a transfer.
Could be
as
a
you alluded
senior,
to.
could be a transfer, could be another big who we add to the mix. I'm excited about what we have, and numbers. People always want to know what we're active with about 28 kids.
Okay.
I'd like to get that
four
down.
spots.
I'd like to get it down where I have 4 yeses, but we don't yet. So we're active, we're aggressive. We've planned our schedule, and we're going to make great use of their world. So texting is a big deal, and phone calls is a big deal. So, and then in the next class down, which that recruiting also starts
Right.
now, we have 2 scholarships, really, Isaiah Miles. But this scholarship, if you could put faces on the scholarships, it's Chris Wilson moving on.
So a point guard.
So
at
a
that
point
spot.
guard. Evan was a multi-skilled guard who scored the ball coming in. That's one. Papa now is one.
Okay.
So those are kind of
One in, one out, essentially.
One in, one out, and that's the best way that we've been able to do it.
Okay. And then a final recruiting question. The last couple of years, you had some success. You had DeAndre, just one of the 4 in particular, James, where you were competing. And when you looked at James Emery's final list of schools that you were competing at, you stood out. What is it that you sell when you're going up against schools that, at face value, you're going, oh, an Atlantic 10 school can't compete against that SEC school? Do you have a specific pitch, or does it really depend on the kid a lot?
No, I have a pitch.
Not for the camera, though?
Him and I.
Okay.
I make it about him and I. I know what their dreams are, and I know really a lot of times what their parents' dreams are. And what I ask a family to do is to trust me, and that you're going to get every ounce of my energy to give them back a man, to give them back a student who understands how to graduate from college, because they end up doing it with all the resources that we have. They have to give it. They have to do that, and I want to hand them back a pro, because everybody wants to make money playing basketball, and there's a lot of ways to make money playing basketball, and we have a lot of those players out and about all over this world playing, and I'd like them to have that same dream. In exchange for that, I want a picture on graduation day, and I want to make an effort to put championship rings and nets on their fingers and their necks. But we have to do it together. And we don't have to take a backseat to the way we travel. We don't have to take a backseat to the way that we're supported. Facility. What I'm looking for is really good people, because we lost our way. I lost my way. And saying, well, you know what, just maybe we can get players and we can train them a certain way. But you have to start with the fact that, at their core, they're a really good person, and they want to fill our need with their wants.
Okay. So that's the pitch going up.
That's
against.
the pitch. It's the pitch. It's the pitch, and it's interesting. I actually told a kid over this weekend when I got him on the phone. I said, look, I know sitting there at some of your games, I'm going to look like the odd man out, but I'm not afraid. Unless you tell me that I'm wasting my time, I'll stay in there until I can get you and your family face to face, and then I'll take my chance.